One simple question. How did Liverpool Football Club get to be this good? Because let's face it, they are perfection. Dynamite, electrifying, dazzling. The glory with which they attack. The resoluteness in the way that they defend. The stubbornness combined with creativity in that midfield. And the cherry on the cake, they have the best footballer currently playing football in the entire world. But how? How did it happen? How does it work? How are they this good? Because, literally, there is one person in the world who predicted this. Now, I know what you're all going to be doing. I know exactly what's happening here. The amount of revisionism going on regarding Liverpool is crazy. But there is only one person that knew that this was going to happen. I have seen YouTubers desperately trying to position that their position on Liverpool pre-season was that they were going to win the league. I've seen revisionist pieces written in the press. The signs were always there that this was going to happen. But let's all be totally frank. There is only one person in the world who saw it. You didn't see it, I didn't see it. Nobody could have possibly predicted that Liverpool were going to be this good, that Liverpool were going to be top of the league, flying in Europe and win the Premier League at a canter. There is only one man who deserves a crown here, and that man is Jurgen Klopp. That's right. The only man who predicted that Liverpool would be as good as they are was Jurgen Klopp himself. When he shocked the world and told us that he was going to leave Liverpool Football Club, he told us that the future was incredibly bright. If you listen to the words that he says in his final address to Liverpool fans, you can tell that he believes that the seeds are planted and something truly beautiful is about to grow. He says, "I love you. The football that you play is ridiculous, and I can't wait for you to make the next steps." And now this is the crucial bit. And I know that some of you watching this video may have predicted that Liverpool will win the league. I just feel like a lot of people are lying with new ideas and new energy. The sky is the limit for you boys. And those words from Jurgen Klopp, never has a truer word been spoken. Jurgen Klopp in that sentence has hit the nail on the head. New ideas, new energy, and the sky is the limit. That is exactly what's happened. The new ideas part. They have been creative works of genius instilled into this team by Arne Slot. The new energy. Now, again, I think we talk about Arne Slot here. I think you can talk about his backroom staff, Johnny Heitinger. But I think there is also an opportunity now to give credit to the players. Because the players are playing with a new energy, a new belief, a new vision. They are borrowing from the brilliance of Klopp, improving on that genius with the help of Arne Slot, and then taking responsibility themselves. And if you think about some players that seemingly felt like they were on the periphery of what Liverpool were trying to achieve, you look at what they have done this season. Yes, we credit Slot. Yes, we credit the system. Yes, we credit the fans. But my God, we have to talk about what Curtis Jones has done. My God, we have to applaud Ryan Gravenberch's work rate and determination. Terribly sorry to interrupt this video, but will you please do me a massive favour? Just click that subscriber button. It really does help me out, and I would love to welcome you into this community. Just click subscribe right now. Go on. Thank you very much. And something that I certainly think we need to talk about is Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz is quietly going about becoming one of the best footballers in the world. Nobody seems to talk about it. Nobody seems to acknowledge it. And it is reminiscent of what happened with Sadio Mane in the team when Mohamed Salah was there. Mohamed Salah, quite rightly, attracts the eyeballs, the adulation, the headlines and the Twitter clips. But what Luis Diaz is doing is magical. And it is comparable to what happened with Sadio Mane. I mentioned this in a review that I did on Liverpool recently, and I think it is so apt that I'm going to mention it again. 5 or 6 years ago, young James Redmond spoke to Redmen TV and he spoke about Sadio Mane. No ifs, no buts, Sadio Mane was the best player in the world. People scoffed, people laughed, it was a great clip. The passion with which he spoke was truly mesmerising, and on some definition of the words, he was totally correct. And I think we're seeing something similar again. Luis Diaz isn't a better player than Mohamed Salah. He isn't more important than Mohamed Salah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Luis Diaz, in any other team, in any other country, in any other part of the world, would be getting so much more recognition than he's getting. Whatever he's asked to do, he does it to perfection. Arne Slot asked him to play through the middle, lead the line for Liverpool, a position that, from my knowledge, is fairly unfamiliar to him. Does it with aplomb. So Klopp knew that this was going to happen. And so did a few dozen other YouTubers, obviously, because they know everything. But Klopp actually knew. But how? How did it happen? How did this actually come to fruition? Like, from the day that Slot got there, it felt like the theme was same but different. Borrow on the brilliance of the past and amplify it in the future. I said quite early in the season, it was a comparison and it was a metaphor that gained quite a lot of traction, and you seem to like it, so I'll reiterate it now. Borrow from heavy metal football and make it more R&B. Change Metallica into Brandy and Mace sitting on top of the world. And that's certainly what he's done. But how has it worked to this effect? I'm going to give you my theory now. So Liverpool were amazing in 18-19. Absolutely amazing. but they didn't win the league. Then in 1920, they did win it. And in that campaign, they were simply perfect. But as good as they were, I've just called them perfect, that team didn't win the league again. They haven't won the league for 5 years. So how's Arne Slot done it? Here's my theory. You know that theory? Goals win games, defences win leagues. Build from the back. Sort your defence out and you'll be fine. Defences will win you the title. It's a theory that has been proved to be true. History has taught us that it works. It's a theory that I believe in. But for every rule, for every theory, there is an exception. And I think Liverpool may have found the exception. It isn't about the defence. The defence that they had 5 years ago when they won the league is pretty much the same defence that they have now. And yet they haven't won the league in the meantime. So it isn't the defence that's changed. It's something else. It's the attack. It's the forward line. It's this vast array of ruthless, efficient goal scorers. Liverpool Football Club are so top heavy. They are goals galore. And I've just checked the numbers here to make sure that I'm right. And I am. When Liverpool won the league 5 years ago, Virgil van Dijk played every single game. Trent Alexander-Arnold played every single game. Andy Robertson played 36 out of 38 games. And Alisson played 29 games that season. So the nucleus of that back line is still there today. But everything in front of that defence is practically different now, with the one obvious, dazzling, brilliant, beautiful exception. But everything else is different. I've actually just checked this. It's literally everything else is different. Harvey Elliott was around then. He played 7 minutes of that campaign, and Curtis Jones started 1 game. But it's the goals in this team that sets Liverpool apart. The depth of talent up front. That's a defining characteristic of this side. Look, they have kept so many traditions from Jurgen Klopp. And Jurgen Klopp is undoubtedly partially responsible for this league title that's coming. The relentlessness that he instilled in this team is there for all to see at the moment. Cast your minds back. Can you imagine what it must take out of a team mentally to go all the way in a league title challenge, to accrue 97 points, to be virtually perfect throughout the entire season and not win the league? Not win the league with 97 points. That could majorly affect your men's mental health. But then what did they do? They bounced back the following season and won it at a canter. Drive, stubbornness, determination, desperation to succeed. And that wasn't the only time they did it. They did the same in the European Cup. They got all the way to the European Cup final. They played in Kiev. They were done by Karius. What did they do the following season? Bang, 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 back to Madrid, slap Tottenham up. Klopp called them mentality monsters, and those examples are so perfect, but this team still has that. Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Mohamed Salah, they set the tone, they set the standards, and they know that that relentlessness is needed. In fact, Alisson spoke about this very recently. The stalwarts of Klopp's team have spoken articulately about the love for what happened before, but the need to move on. And Alisson literally said that the winning mentality may be the biggest overlap on what happened before and what is happening now. And you can see it in the style of football. The style of football is kind of the same, but kind of different. They play Klopp's German blitzkrieg, attacking, heavy metal football, but they play that football with Dutch control. Gravenberch's control rather than Henderson's franticness. Arne Slot's poise on the touchline rather than Jurgen Klopp's brilliant lunacy. But ultimately, I really do believe that it is the attackers that are the difference. Liverpool have always had a brilliant backline, but it's Diaz and Salah and Nunez and Jota. That is what separates. And do the comparison. You can do it with anyone. Who do you believe? Let's play a game. Who do you believe is the major title challenger to Liverpool? Some are suggesting Chelsea. I just don't see us being good enough. So I'm going to use Arsenal as a case study. I feel like Arsenal are further along in their development and more likely to challenge Liverpool for the league, if anyone is, than anyone else in the league. Is that fair? Okay, let's do it. Let's do the comparison. I actually believe that all 3 of Liverpool's attackers get in Arsenal's starting 11. So that means Liverpool's front line, 100% of Liverpool's front line is 100% better than Arsenal's front line. You know, Bukayo Saka is an amazing player. I did a deep dive into Bukayo Saka that is on this channel. So people know quite how highly I rate him and I believe that he's world class. It's just very unfortunate that he's not as good as Mohamed Salah. If Bukayo Saka played in any other position, maybe there would be a case to suggest that he could get in the team, but he doesn't. He goes up against Mohamed Salah, and therefore Saka doesn't make this team. And the other 2 positions aren't really up for debate, are they? Diogo Jota clearly a million times better than Kai Havertz. It is unjust to compare Martinelli or Trossard with what Luis Diaz is currently doing. I actually believe that you could even argue that the subs, so Darwin Núñez, I think Darwin Núñez starts for Arsenal. I think Darwin Núñez, who doesn't start for Liverpool, starts for Chelsea. Weirdly, I feel like Manchester City could do with a bit of Darwin Núñez at the moment. In fact, I'm struggling to think of a club that Darwin Núñez doesn't start for apart from the club that he is at. And that's not a reflection on how I feel about Darwin Núñez, for the record. I don't rate him that highly. I think he misses far too many chances. He's a far too profligate striker for my liking. And it's the same with Jota. Jota literally gets into every other team. Look, Jota's problem is injuries. But when he plays, he scores. It's as simple as that. If the geezer is on the pitch, That's more of a problem. But if the geezer's on the pitch, he scores a goal. I just had a look. I just checked the stats. Diogo Jota has only managed to start 7 league games so far this season. So that's a problem. But in the 7 league games that he started, he scored 4 goals and created 2. 4 goals, 2 assists in 7 games. Like, just compare that with Kai Havertz. And you know the craziest thing here? I'm sure you can probably tell. I've tried to demonstrate this point without even bringing up the best footballer in the world. It's my top trump card. And I haven't even had to play it. I've managed to do a whole piece talking about how many goals Liverpool can score, how ruthless they are in front of goal, how creative they are in front of goal, how devastating they are in front of goal. And I haven't even had to bring up their best player, the world's best player. I think a lot of you know that I'm currently working on a piece about Mohamed Salah, so I'm going to keep my powder dry a bit. But the man is unbelievable. Like, he's just breaking record after record after record. Like last Sunday, he became the fastest player to 30 goal involvements in a single season in Premier League history. It's all so easy. It's record after record. It's going to be award after award. And I think it's going to be club accolade after club accolade. Like, you know those people that suggest that Mohamed Salah should leave? And they start talking about like computer algorithms and they talk about sell-on value and you know, when I hear that, firstly, I immediately excuse myself from the conversation because that person is a moron. But they're actually deranged, aren't they? Like, if you honestly believe that Liverpool would be better off without Mohamed Salah, or it's in Liverpool's interest to sell Mohamed Salah, I just think you're an idiot. Like, I don't care what your algorithm says. I don't care what your pie chart says. I don't care what your stat man on YouTube says, because he's undoubtedly a moron. Football is a game of emotion. View it with your eyes, feel it with your heart and your blood. And with Mohamed Salah, we are witnessing something historic. You know, football's mythology. There are players that we know that we don't know. There are players that we hear about that we can't comprehend. Dixie Dean. We've all heard of Dixie Dean. We all know what Dixie Dean did for Everton. We've all heard the numbers, but our brains can't compute it. Only those that were privileged enough to witness it can understand it. Jimmy Greaves, Fatty Folk, Robin Friday. It's amazing football folklore. And where you and I are so fortunate is we are witnessing that history. We are watching an icon. We are witnessing week in, week out, goals being scored by one of football's all-time greats. And I think sometimes you have to see the bigger picture. We're fortunate to witness this greatness. And this is the greatness that is setting Liverpool apart. I think Mohamed Salah is responsible for what's going on in that front line. I think Mohamed Salah is responsible for setting the standards. I think Mohamed Salah is responsible for making sure that everyone who plays in that front line knows what their job is. Following in the footsteps of the great Sadio Mane and the great Roberto Firmino, Salah has instilled this belief, this determination, and this demand for excellence that will see Liverpool do so well for many years to come. Luis Diaz deserves so much credit for his performance. But I think that even he would acknowledge that Salah is partially responsible. The man who sets the standards is so important at any football club. And basically what Arne Slot has done is impeccable. The man is a genius. And of course there are other contenders for Manager of the Year. Of course we have to acknowledge what Nuno Espirito Santo is currently doing at Nottingham Forest. It's amazing, mind-blowingly good. But Liverpool and Arne Slot, I don't use the word lightly, but I think it's perfection. There we have it. That's my theory on how Liverpool are so good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. Please click subscribe before you go. It would really help me out. If you've enjoyed this style of video, just give it a like so I can monitor it, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Ta-da!